The question is that Amendment A be made, since when an amendment to the amendment has been proposed as follows, that amendment at the end of the Amendment A, and which shall instead be referred to the Intelligence and Security Committee of Parliament, the question is the amendment be made and proposed amendment be made. As many of that opinion, say aye. Aye! Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Right. The question is that Amendment A, as amended, be made. As many of that opinion, say aye. Aye! Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is that the motion, as amended, to be agreed to, as many of that opinion say aye. Aye! Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Right. That completes. Are you ready, Caroline? Yes. Right. Sorry, a point of order, Simon Horn.
Speaker, it's in relation to the point that the Minister made with regards to the Metropolitan Police, asking that certain documents are not released in case they prejudiced a trial or an investigation. You know as well as I do, sir, the importance of privilege to this place. Will your office and council be working with the Cabinet Office to ensure that the rights and privileges of members of this House are protected?
Can I just say, we're not going to continue the debate, but just to sum up, the question with the Metropolitan Police have no jurisdiction on what this House may wish to do. It will be whether the government provides or not. But just to let you know, they cannot dictate to this House. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to continue the debate. It's been a long debate, an important debate. Let us move on.
Good evening. You've been watching live pictures from the House of Commons, where MPs have just wrapped up their marathon debate on whether the government will be compelled to release files relating to the appointment of Lord Mandelson as the UK's ambassador to the United States, an appointment thrust again into the spotlight following the recent revelations about the closeness of his relationship to the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. That's now being investigated by the police. What began as a Tory parliamentary tactic today to embarrass the Prime Minister soon turned into a wider challenge to his authority as senior figures on the Labour-backed benches, including the former Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner, lined up to criticise the lack of scrutiny of exactly what the government would release. Earlier, the Prime Minister had warned that he would not disclose anything that would threaten national security, but following frenetic discussions across the chamber, the government gave in to critics. To add to the confusion, the Metropolitan Police this evening issued a statement that said that they had asked the government not to release any files that would prejudice their investigation. It is a pretty messy picture on a day when the Prime Minister's authority over his party looked a bit ragged. And as you may just have seen, the amendment, or the motion with the amendment, has just been voted through in the Commons. I'm joined here in the studio by our political editor, Beth Rigby. I suppose almost a foregone conclusion, but the debate this afternoon was fascinating and really changed from what we expected it to be when it was first announced.
I mean, it has been quite the day, and I have to say, Matt, I'm reeling a bit right now, and my WhatsApps are full of MPs in absolute fury about what's going on. If we just stand back for a moment, where are we? And we'll get onto the debate in a moment. The release of further details on Mandelson's relationship with Epstein has really blown up a crisis that the Prime Minister hoped he had put to bed last September when he sacked Mandelson as the ambassador to the US after it emerged that he had continued this friendship with Epstein, and it was much closer than perhaps the Prime Minister was told he was led to believe. But the revelations over the weekend that Mandelson also allegedly leaked market-sensitive information back in 2009 under the Gordon Brown administration, that he had taken payments from Epstein amounting to £75,000 when he was a prominent Labour politician in the early noughties, has brought this crisis right to the door of the current Prime Minister. If they had never brought Mandelson back, this would have been a historical scandal that might turn out to be the biggest of this century. And I say that because the Met Police are now investigating Mandelson. If they decide to prosecute him and he has a conviction, he could end up going to prison over this. That is how serious these allegations are. Where does it leave the current Prime Minister? He is in a very, very, very sticky situation tonight, Matt. And the fact that the government have had to today amend their own amendment to allow the release of all these documents and then put the adjudication of what should and shouldn't be put in the public domain, not in the hands of the government, but in the hands of Parliament through the Intelligence and Security Committee. The reason that is happening is because their own MPs do not trust the government. And the person that led that call for scrutiny independent of number 10 was Angela Rayner, the former Deputy Prime Minister. So the fact that she did that, it was backed up by other senior MPs such as Meg Hillier, tells you very clearly how deeply unhappy about this MPs are. I've got MPs telling me that they're not sure they can stay on in government posts. You know, people might resign. You know, it is a tinderbox, this, that could really ignite. And so it's very, very febrile. The other thing that happened this evening, Matt, that has been another blow to the Prime Minister is in Prime Minister's questions, he conceded that the vetting process on which he took the decision to appoint Mandelson as the ambassador back in 2025 made it clear that Mandelson had continued his relationship with Epstein. Now, for many of his MPs, and particularly some of the female MPs, that is unforgivable because that shows a terrible lack of judgment from the Prime Minister in their view. Now, Starmer's defence there at the dispatch box was, I was lied to, I was misled. If I had known then what I have subsequently found out, I would never have appointed him. I regret it deeply. The bind that number 10 are in this evening is the evidence that they would want to release to prove that point and therefore take some heat out of, as I said, what could be a tinderbox moment. The Met Police have asked the government not to release any documents that prejudice the trial. And number 10 sources are now saying to me that that means that documentation that would back up Starmer's position, they now cannot release. So he is in a very, very, very fragile position this evening. And the mood, I have to say, in the parliamentary party is really, really difficult. And I'm just getting messages through, there's many MPs and a few ministers telling me that they feel compromised by this.
More on that to come, no doubt. Thank you very much indeed, Beth.